The Dorado Chamber of Commerce was host to the Butler County Farm Bureau Association Candidate Forum held on Wednesday, July 27th, where candidates running for office were able to share with the public about their position on various issues.
Presented by the Dorado Chamber of Commerce and Butler County Farm Bureau. We're going to have two sessions this evening. The first will be statements made by our Kansas State House of Representatives. Then second, we will have the opening statements and a Q&A period for our county commissioner running for seats in District 4 and District 5. We'll begin with the Kansas 12th District Representative, Doug Glass.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a long ways from me. I'm about 2 miles into the eastern edge of my district in Montgomery County. I had 5 counties. With the redistricting, I picked up all of Elk. I did have the southern half, and I have about 2/3 of Cali. It's primarily all cows and grass, not a lot of people. I primarily represent rural. Touching the master's hand.
There's a mic, I got it.
And I kind of bill myself, I guess, as trying to be a common sense approach to things up there, and that's sometimes very difficult. I'm a retired wildlife biologist for the state of Kansas. Worked in a couple states, Nebraska and Kansas. Kansas is my home. I currently live on the family farm that won the original deed homestead was signed by President Ulysses S. Grant. So it's been in our family a long time. I run a small cow-calf operation and still continue to farm on the family farm. So that's kind of the background of my training. I guess when I look at what we've accomplished in this last year, I feel like we've really had a good year. We got a lot of legislation passed, and I feel like that COVID kind of shut all of us down, and we're still dealing with a little bit of that, but for the most part, we're up and going. Redistricting was a big issue. Moved a few senators as well as representatives around. I picked up a little bit more near the town of Ark City, and like I said, picked up the balance of northern half of Elk County, but there's only 1,800 people in the entire county of Elk, so that's not too many. So I support big time rural Kansas. I try to vote for everything that I feel is important to keep kids in Kansas and to generate our economy, particularly in the rural areas. And we're starting to see some things happen. I think if they'd done the census this year or possibly next, I'm seeing a lot of young kids, and I call them young kids, they're in the 45 to 50, they're coming back home to mom and grandma and grandpa to be with the kids and getting away from some big city regulation. And they're coming back to our small town. So we are, I think, growing, even though it's a continual fight. We have to work on legislation that would be something that would be beneficial with that. We worked on broadband, which is very much an essential. And I actually serve now on the Health and Human Services Committee. The landmark of my accomplishment, 6 years, it took me, as well as with help of fellow legislators, to get the APRN bill passed to where they could practice without a collaborative agreement with a physician, which I think is a big boon to rural Kansas to be able to do that. 6 years. I'm not a very patient person, those that know me, and I farm. If I've got money, I go out and build a fence. I try not to do it in August, but still, legislators are process. Will is a veteran and a super legislator. He sits kind of diagonally right in front of me, and I pick his brain and his knowledge quite often. He's a great asset for me, and I appreciate his support. But some of the things just take a while, and we move that needle just a little bit, one term, a little bit the next term, and then when you look back after a couple of years, you figure out what you really want to do the first week, but it gets done. And it is a slow process. I do enjoy it, and I feel like I have a place up there. I am strong in my near 40 years in the conservation field, I can bring a lot of background knowledge to that. Each of us are specialists in our own area up there. So collectively, we can be very effective if we listen to each other. And sometimes that's difficult. So with that, it's an honor to be here. I'm glad that you invited me. Farm Bureau is always one of my favorite supporting organizations. I'm big time into small business too, and the Chamber supports me. So I'll answer questions and pass it on down to whoever's next. Thank you.
Next from the 88th district is Chuck Schmidt.
Is this working? This one? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for the invitation to be here. I'm a little bit out of my area, but not really, because the 88th district actually gets into Butler County in the south part of the district. It goes as far as Andover Road. That's new. That was a new part. And actually, I just spent the last couple of weeks, I'm walking that area and introducing myself to those people because they didn't know me as their representative because I wasn't their representative before. So anyway, I'm glad to be here, glad to address this group. Let me talk a little bit about my background. I grew up on a farm, a dairy farm in western Kansas. If anybody's ever been on a dairy farm, you know how to work. You don't have any choice. I did that. I remember when I left to go off to college, I told my dad I'm never coming back. I went to college, got a degree in education. I taught for 2 years, and guess what I did? I came back to the farm and partnered with my parents full-time for about 10 years. Then I got gradually back into education and still partnered for a while. But most of my career since then is in education. I've served in just about every position you can be in education, everything from a substitute teacher to a teacher coach to a principal to a superintendent. And actually, I served 1 year here in El Dorado as your interim part-time business manager. You had somebody resign late, they couldn't get somebody, and I had just resigned as superintendent at Independence, and your superintendent asked me to come in, so I spent a year here doing that on a part-time basis. So I've been around a little bit in my educational career. One of the things I learned in my educational career is that you need to be able to talk to people who don't agree with everything you agree with. You need to be able to deal with people who are different than you. Because in schools, we get whoever walks in the door. And we deal with families across the city. And I learned from that you need to respect everybody, never burn bridges, and try to work with people and try to find common ground. And I think in my career we did a lot of that. I won a few awards as an administrator and as a coach, and I think that's because I learned over time how to work with other people. I was recently, I moved 5 years ago to the Wichita area, and the representative in my area, Elizabeth Bishop, resigned for health reasons, and I was selected to take her place. So I have actually served one session in the legislature, and I'm now up for re-election this fall. What I learned in that session is that when we work together, and Doug mentioned some of these things, when we work together, we can get some things done. What I've always been is a problem solver. I look at what's the problem and what are some possible solutions. I'm not concerned about ideologies, political philosophies. I'm concerned about what are the solutions for our problems. And we got together on a number of things, and I'll mention some of those. Mental health is one of the issues that's a real serious issue in our state. It's a crisis, and we have actually been able to cooperate on that. I think we found a lot of bipartisan agreement. We've done some good things. We've got more to go. We've done some tax reductions. We did get a food sales tax reduced this year. I serve on the taxation committee. I was disappointed. We wanted to take it to zero. We could do that. We could afford it. But at least we got the process started. And one of the other things we did is we have, for the 4th year in a row, we have fully funded our schools, and that's something that hasn't happened for quite a while. So when we work together on those things, we can accomplish things. One of my real disappointments is that I know that the vast majority of Kansans want Medicaid expansion because there are 150,000 people who do not have medical coverage. We're all paying for it already anyway. We're all paying for it with our premiums or the hospital fees or something. And I was in Independence, Kansas when the hospital closed. My wife is a healthcare worker, lost her job, partly because of that. There were other issues, but partly because we haven't expanded Medicaid. And there's been other hospitals that have done that too. So that's a big issue for me, and I'll do as much as I can to try to get that passed. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Chuck. Finally, from the great district of number 75, Mr. Will Carpenter.
There it is. Okay. Thank you, Doug. Thank you for those kind words. I'll slip you a 5 here later on and we'll get done. Good evening, and thank you to the Butler County Farm Bureau and Dorado Chamber for hosting this event tonight. And thank you all for coming and participating in the political process. Many of you may know I'm unopposed in this election cycle, first time in 6 elections for the House, for me. There's 2 schools of thought on that one. One, I'm doing a good job and everybody's happy about the job I'm doing. The other one is, that I subscribe to, is that there's nobody out there dumb enough to want to do this job. So, all joking aside, I'm honored to represent the folks of Butler County, District 75, and I enjoy my job. I enjoy serving the citizens of Northern Butler County. I can only hope in some small way I'm making a difference in people's lives in our great state. I've been fortunate enough to chair the Social Services Budget Committee for 6 years, $8 billion annually with a B. The budgets I oversee are the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, Kansas Department of Aging and Disabilities, and the Department of Children and Families, and 10 other smaller budgets like the Veterans Budget and some stuff like that. Our state has many challenges facing these citizens in these areas. Our committee does their very best to address these challenges. I also serve on Appropriations Committee and Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development, as well as the Legislative Budget Committee, Camp Care Oversight Committee, and several other interim committees. Thanks again for coming tonight, and contact me anytime on any issue. Thank you.
You all have been given a list of topics that we will cover tonight, some of which we will, some of which we won't, but you have never seen the questions. So we'll begin with the first question. What do you think the county's role should be if a city should attract an economic development prospect that will make a significant capital investment and create numerous jobs? Steve, we'll start with you.
Well, I think all the parties should definitely take a look at it. I think you have to be really careful when you do that. I know we're all thinking maybe about the DeSoto battery plant. That's huge. I know the state of Kansas I know it's a $4 billion plant, but the state of Kansas is putting in $1 billion into that. I think you have to proceed in those things with caution, because I have seen some things that have gone south. So I definitely think the city and county should work together to get those types of things, attract those types of businesses. But again, I think you have to use a good measure of caution before you start dumping in taxpayers' money to attract them.
Yeah.
I do believe the county and the cities need to work together. That's one thing as far as to help build that economic development for the county. I think you need to support each other. And I think the county will come out with benefits from the city, because you're going to have people that will be moving in with those businesses that you're bringing in, that you're talking about. They're going to be spending their money here. They're going to be buying houses. They're going to live here in the county, not just the city. So I believe that the county needs to get on board with these cities to help improve and bring in these businesses that will help the county throughout.
I've spent 28 years plus on Elbert Inc. Been president of the board twice, specifically towards this initiative of how do we do smart economic development in Butler County and El Dorado. We worked really well with the county and to pair up some initiatives for when BG relocated here. Much of that was it's in the city limits, so much of that was a city initiative. However, there were some outside the city limit options that the county was able to participate in. So that partnering in initiatives is crucial. Infrastructure, understanding that the traffic and the logistics that support a large project are going to be on a county level. So understanding how that impact is. 254 plays into that, and we've talked about very specifically industrial development in El Dorado. There's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot of excitement to talk about there. The resources that are here, and understanding the county and the city pairing together on how to market those resources and there's been a lot of that happening. Could it be better? I think it could always get better. But partnering for incentives. But I think the most crucial part of all that is, and we did some of this while I was mayor, is understanding what really is the return on investment. It's not giving away the farm, and we don't give away the farm anymore. Several years ago, we would answer the door to whoever knocked, but now we understand what we have, and we're not giving away the farm. So pairing in with the cities and the community, cities and the counties is going to be crucial for economic development, not just in El Dorado, it happens to be District 4, but all the way across the board. All the communities deserve that.
Exactly. We as a county have partnered with almost every city in the county on economic development, whether, like I say, BG product, we've had a multitude in Andover, Augusta, some of the smaller communities, Rose Hill with the Viking Corporation and whatnot down there. So we do across the county partner with the cities, because we understand as the cities grow, so grows the county. There's a lot of misconception about tax abatements. You might give up tax abatements for 10 years for somebody, but what's the long term? What's the long play on that? What is the benefit down the road? So we give up, we're still getting tax dollars on the land, but what is that going to produce? We are looking at jobs, assessed valuations, all of that goes up. So we have to be a good partner with them. Several years, a couple of years before I came on the board, the county had a railroad between Augusta and Andover. We took control of that. We salvaged that. We are still using that money from that as seed money to other organizations, as loans and this, that, and we get that paid back, and then we reinvest in the community. So we have to continue that. We've got to be good partners, and like Vince said, we also need to be sure and look at the end game. What do we gain in the long run? So we're actively doing that, and we will continue to actively in almost every city in the county on economic development, whether, like say, BG product, we've had a multitude in Andover, Augusta, some of the smaller communities, Rose Hill with the Viking Corporation and whatnot down there. So we do across the county partner with the cities, because we understand as the cities grow, so grows the county. There's a lot of misconception about tax abatements. You might give up tax abatements for 10 years for somebody, but what's the long term? What's the long play on that? What is the benefit down the road? So we give up, we're still getting tax dollars on the land, but what is that going to produce? We are looking at jobs, assessed valuations, all of that goes up, so we have to be a good partner with them. Several years, a couple of years before I came on the board, the county had a railroad between Augusta and Andover. We took control of that, we salvaged that, we are still using that money from that as seed money to other organizations, as loans and this, that, and we get that paid back, and then we reinvest in the community. So we have to continue that. We've got to be good partners, and like Vince said, we also need to be sure and look at the end game. What do we gain in the long run? So we're actively doing that, and we will continue to actively do that.
Okay. basically, it's always a risk and gamble. You have to look at numbers. Math is one of my strongest suits, and that's one of my favorite subjects. It comes in handy when you're thinking with numbers. You might look at other projects that have happened in the past and see if they've failed or what they've succeeded at, and you probably make the guesstimate off of those past things, such as whenever like you're building something new. I moved from Newton, Kansas, so I saw the YMCA building being built. I saw how it brought people in from experience of just working and living in that environment years back, and seeing that I agree that if you can build something with with the right marketing and maybe with the right forefront of planning and such, that it can be something to draw people in, and that's what you want. You want to get attention, and a good way to attract your customers, where you're trying to keep younger people here. I mean, no offense, if they're bored, they're not going to stay. Being a younger person myself, I understand that. I've had my time where I wanted to come and go, and I decided to stay because I've got family here, and I realized that I would like to see it grow. It's on the right path. Thank you.
Next, we'll go to District 4 candidates. Seems how they represent one of the largest square miles as far as district out there. How do you propose to meet the needs of the community and also the communities in that district, and also the large components of the ag people that are out in that district? Go ahead, Dennis.
Thank you. Great question. It is a big geographic area. I mean, I think all three of us have learned more about that driving around. So, a commitment to be accessible, a commitment to listen. Certainly, while mayor fine-tuned some listening skills in terms of how to listen and discern and help prioritize to get things done. The diversity of the county makes that a lot more challenging. I think as a candidate or as a commissioner, it would be, I would make the commitment to have regular scheduled times that we'd be at township meetings, be accessible, be it community meetings that happen. Headed to Beaumont tomorrow type thing. So be there for that, be at council meetings, and have a regularly scheduled time, not just show up and be, oh, I'm here today, so that those communities or those patrons and those citizens know that the commissioner's going to be there today. Township meetings, just kind of make the commitment to circulate and be around, and then listen. Quite frankly, listen and hear. Take what we hear, and I think that's part of being a voice for District 4. It's a big district. So taking that back to the commission and trying to describe that, hey, the decisions we're making here, we got to play that out on this bench too. So that's what I would propose.
Being in District 4, I get a lot of people telling me, well, you want to be a commissioner because you only work 1 day a week. I believe a commissioner is more than that. I feel that it's almost a full-time job. I feel that you need to get out into the community because you're the voice for the people that elected you. Those constituents elected you to be their voice to the commission. And the only way to do that is get out amongst them. And I propose going to the senior centers, meet with the people there. That's in the smaller communities. That's where everybody meets in the small towns, believe it or not. It's the community center, whether you're old or not. I go there sometimes, and I guess I'm old. But you learn a lot. You meet a lot of people there. I also propose that you need to go to every township board meeting within your district. The people show up for those township meetings. That is within your district. And that's how you hear what they want to do, what they're concerned about. Also, going to the events in the small towns. A lot of the small towns have different festivals and events. Go there. Make yourself accessible to those people. Find out what's concerning them. Also, likewise, you need to get back with those people and let them know what's going on. One thing that I really like is what Will Carpenter does with his Facebook. He gets on and tells some of the big issues that are happening in the state. That lets people know what's going on. I would like to be able to do that for the constituents. Hey, this is what's coming up. How do you feel about this? What is your opinion? And that would include both the city people and the rural people. I know there was a lot of differences having lived in the city. I know some of the aspects of that. Living in the country most of my life, I know a lot of the aspects of what goes with that. Getting with those people, finding out what they're wanting, and then you can take it back to the commission.
And could you repeat the question just so I make sure I answer it correctly?
It has to do with the large size of the district that you're in and getting into the communities. How would you get into them? And then working with the ag, which comprises the basic component of workers in your area.
Gotcha. Okay. District 4 is big. You know, I know there is, in Butler County, there's about 67,000 people, and there is 125,000, give or take, cattle, which is in the top 10 in the state of Kansas. So, you know, if I had to answer your question in one word, I would say it's time. I'm fully retired. I'm ready to dedicate all my time to this and get out. I agree, you have to get out, you have to be accessible. Another thing I would say is that I think I represent somebody that's a hybrid. I spent my youth on an Angus farm. I stacked hay, rode tractors, could ride a horse. Many, many years since that, I understand the ag terms. My brother's a rancher in Oklahoma. So I think I can relate to people really well, and I think I can relate to people who aren't of that type. So we are truly a mixture of rural and small metropolitan, and I think it's probably about 50-50 when you look at the population of the three biggest cities, Augusta, Andover, El Dorado, that are in Butler County. I'm gonna guess you're looking at maybe 35, 40,000. And remember that population was 67,000, so it's a rough 50-50 split. So I think I represent a hybrid candidate that has the time that can get out and meet with people.
Sasha and Dan, this question is directed at you. What challenges do you see? What advantages do you see there are in your district that border Sedgwick County, Wichita, Derby, as well as Andover and Butler County? Sasha, go ahead.
Advantages I see are that things are progressing. I see that, like, with the construction on the school and whatnot, there is movement that's been getting done. And I see as we go further south, that I see progression, I see new houses being built, and unfortunately after the tornadoes, I should say, but there's been some remodeling, and some things are back behind. That's a disadvantage because of COVID and whatnot. The people are short-staffed as far as building, but they're trying to pick up where they left off or make new starts, and it's gonna take time. And the people are still healing, they're gonna be healing. I see a couple of houses that I drive by, I live 2 miles from my work and my home, that are still without their roofs and whatnot, and I think being just done with. And that's a sad sight to see. So there are both give and takes. And I think that, like I said, with time, things will get better. Nothing happens overnight.
Thank you. Growing up in Roseville, which is on the border of the Sedgwick, Butler County, the challenges we have is 15 mills. We are 15 mills higher than Sedgwick County. So to convince somebody to live in Butler County compared to Sedgwick County, we have great schools in Roseville, Andover, Douglas, in that area that people are competing for. Quality of life. What we have to sell is quality of life. And we work very, very hard on that through our communities and through cooperative agreements between the counties and the cities to get that, and the schools. It's got to be a joint effort. We have to convince people, why do you want to live in Butler County? Your taxes are a little higher, but it's safe. You know your neighbors, and that's huge, and that's a big deal. We are growing on the western edge. We are the fastest part of We also are continually improving the road system to make it easy to commute between Rose Hill, Andover, Sedgwick County, where the majority of the jobs are. So we have to make all that come together. It's got to be easy to get there. It's got to be affordable, and it's got to be safe. Nobody wants to live in a community that's perceived as not safe. And we got to continue to work with our school districts to provide quality education, because that's all what we really get into Butler County. Thank you.
Next, do you see a way, and this is to all the commissioners, to keep the county mill levy and or property tax? I've fought with how to use that word there, because I can see people going out and saying, hey, I kept the mill levy where it was at when the valuations have been jacked way up, and that just increases property taxes. So take the terminology how you want on there. Do you see a way to lower the mill levy and or property taxes over the next 5 years? And how would you go about it? Darren?
2 minutes on taxes, wow. Going out and talking with people, that's the biggest issue everybody faces. Butler County has one of the highest property tax rates in the state of Kansas, or in state of Kansas and the United States. Right now, our percentage of tax value is 1.47%. We rank 483rd out of 3,100 counties in the United States. Now, taxes is a two-edged sword. We have to have the taxes. Butler County, I feel, has some of the best services of any county in the state, whether that be through our Sheriff's Department, our EMS, the ladies, the people that work at the courthouse, road workers. We have to pay those people. We have to keep those good workers here. We do that with tax money. Taxes don't follow the law of gravity. Usually when taxes go up, they never come down. We need to look at different ways of how we can adjust that. Right now, we're in tough times. I think the county should look at it like I do my household. You know, when times are good, you can go out, you can buy that boat, you can buy that four-wheeler. But when times get tough, maybe you need to start cutting some of those luxuries. Maybe if I got rid of that boat, I don't have that boat payment, I can buy the higher priced food for my family because everything's going up. Taxes is a big issue right now. I don't see that taxes can come down a whole lot. I've talked with them up at the appraiser's office. They're hoping eventually they will come down because the price of the houses right now, the market to build them and to buy them is astronomical. Once it comes back down, I believe that it could come down a little bit. But we need to figure out other ways of how we can spend that tax money appropriately to where we don't have to keep raising those. One question that I always get is on the ag. The ag land is set by state statute. It isn't appraised. It goes off of an 8-year value, like on my pasture land. The net income for 8 years that they averaged, that's what I pay the taxes on. So the county really has no say on ag taxes. That's set by state statute.
Dan?
One of my favorite subjects. During my tenure, we have continually lowered the mill rate. I mean, we are down to 32 mills. When I got there, we were close to 37. So we worked with that. People, appraisals. This year, appraisals went a little crazy. But if you sell your house, you know why. Because it's fair market value. It's not, and we are governed by the state of Kansas. Our appraiser, while we hire her, works under a very strict set of guidelines set by the state of Kansas. If we are not in compliance with those guidelines, they will come in. And I assure you, if you talk to any county in this state that's had the state appraisers come in and you think you have a mess now, you haven't seen anything. So we work very hard at that. The other thing, when you talk about the overall tax rate of Butler County, is we are the collection agency for not only the county, the school districts, the cities, the townships, the fire districts, the college, the state of Kansas. We collect everybody. So when they look at that tax bill, they don't look at the breakdown, they look at the overall dollar number. We collect that, so therefore we're the bad guys. You know, we also, there's a new law in place. We send out a deal that if you raise $1 more than you did last year, you have to send out notification that we're raising taxes. We as local governments have to do that. State government doesn't have to do that. And they're still collecting 21.5 mils, but they don't have to send out the same requirements. But we take care of that, we do that, we work very hard. All I can control is the county mill. I can't control cities, counties, townships, fire districts, fire districts, we are over there. But those issues, but we're the collection agency. We work very hard to continually to lower that mill rate. We do collect more money. It does cost more to do things, but we are working very hard to continue to lower it.
Vance?
Thank you. Kind of look at it from somewhat as a business perspective. You can't cut your way to profitability. You've got to look at ways to grow your revenue, but you can't just build more rooftops either, because I think proof's in the pudding. More rooftops, while we love them, they come with a cost. I've been working with the economic development arm of El Dorado Inc., and all the work that's been done. The industrial park in El Dorado is now full. That conservatively, that's about $85 million worth of capital investment. $850 million worth of capital investment. Let me get my numbers here. I'm sorry. Let me keep going back. Really, it boils down to promoting our industrial growth, promoting our industrial base. That the tax base for industrial is at 25% versus 11.5% on residential. Understanding that the ag is different. But when you can grow that base, you're able to turn around and offer opportunities for residential and your taxpayer, your citizen taxpayer, to go down. So I don't think, and I agree with all this been talking about in terms of it. Something also learned as a mayor. There's a certain dollar amount it takes to run a government, a certain dollar amount to offer the services that we offer. So how do we look at a revenue base and a revenue stream that can offset what the burden is for the individual taxpayer? And it's an industrial development, it's economic development. It's 2 to 1. It's a 2 to 1 base. So increasing that tax base gives the county and all of the other tax agencies the opportunity to lower the tax on the individual homeowner in that regard. So that's the formula that I would start to look at. And that's the return on investment that we talk about in terms of looking at economic development.
Steve?
Well, I figured we'd get at tax questions, so I've written a few notes up here because when I go around and I talk to people, they want to talk about taxes and they want to know where they go, because most people remember that twice a year you either mail it in or you go to the courthouse and you take a pretty good check. People don't forget that. And taxpayers do want to know where their money goes. So again, I'm going to agree with some of the panelists up here. We definitely have to grow our county economically so tax levies can remain the same. This starts with continuing management of outgoing funds in a prudent fashion. I've spent the last 6 weeks going to the Butler County Commission meetings, and I'm going to tell you, the county administration and the current commissioners do a heck of a job. I listen to them, they ask those questions to get that information, so they are doing that part already. I'm going to look at something a little bit differently maybe than some of these other folks up here. Another thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find more housing. We're just going to have to. If we bring businesses in, you got to have places for people to live. If we want to bring young families in, we're going to have to be able to say, we have daycares available for you. Now, we were talking about partnerships earlier. I've been digging around on the Kansas legislative site, and actually I found something that looks pretty good. Talk about partnerships with city and county. Here's one with the state. House Bill 2237. It applies to all counties with 75,000 or less people, and it provides tax credits for people who want to build homes. I think, don't quote me on this, that amount is $30,000, and there's also daycare credits. So again, we need to look for these things. We can bring in all the businesses of the world in here, but if we don't have places for people to live, it's not going to do any good. Young families, if we can't provide daycares for them, we've got to get on board and find some of those solutions. And so that would be my thing in time in terms of the tax base.
Sasha?
Agreeing with growth, I mean, everyone here has said wonderful points. I really don't think there's much to argue with. It's like I see the new construction that is off of Kellogg and across from like the Dillons and whatnot. There's, I see new things going up there. I'm not sure if it's apartments or what it is. I have not investigated into that so very much. But you know, we have a lot of houses. I don't see very many apartment complexes. So again, you know, he's right about trying to find ways so that you have people. No point in having people drive out here from 20 minutes away and whatnot when they can live in the area and work here. I love living close to where I work, and I'm sure everyone else would enjoy that too. It makes it easier. It cuts in your prices of gas and travel expenses, and I wish there was more of the child daycare and it's hard to cut back numbers so that you can continue paying people as they deserve. Maybe switching out and finding other ways of income or revenue. That way you can still continue that and help others in a different direction. Thank you.
Thank you all. Important question. They're all important, but this one especially. How do you view the economic and workforce impact and the importance of Butler County Community College on this county? Steve, we'll start with you.
Okay, thank you for that question. Again, we talk about partnerships. We have to have those partnerships all the time. It's a wonderful place we have out there. They are continuing to evolve and do things. They have a culinary program right now. They have the internet, and they can talk to different chefs all around the world. I think there's an opportunity also. I'm going to come back to daycares. Educare was out there at one point in time, and I would love to see us do something where we partner with them again. I had one of my granddaughters that went out there and stayed and enabled my daughter, who had 2 babies in a row and was the first one out there to get an RN degree doing that, so I'm super proud of her. So again, I think there's multifaceted ways to interact with the college, the city, the county, and so Butler County definitely plays an integral part of that.
Thanks. Sasha?
Okay. I don't have a lot of experience with the college per se itself. I do know that I like that it brings people here, and it can sometimes keep people here to go, you know, they go for their schooling and they can take and use that in education and flourish here in areas nearby. I'm sorry to say this, I'm not educated enough on that particular topic.
Okay. Gary?
I do believe Butler County is a big asset for Butler County residents. Those of you that know me, I'm pretty cheap. I'm pretty tight with my money. It is a good place for our local students to go. All 3 of my kids have taken classes at Butler, and it saved a lot of money. So I think not only impacting the students in Butler County, it's good for them, but also Butler County employs quite a few people. A lot of those people do live in Butler County, whether it be El Dorado, Andover, Rose Hill. They're putting that money back into Butler County. One thing I always hear when I was talking with people is they don't like having to pay that mill or that to the county. I do believe we get that back from the county, from what they offer us. I do know of a couple of students that moved here to go to Butler, and they stayed in Butler County. They liked it here. They stayed here to work. So I think that's a big improvement that the county, the college can draw students in that may stay in Butler County and call this home. One thing that I would like to see that I'm being asked, and that's with working with legislatures. When I was younger, Butler Community College was mainly a community college. Now they offer so many different things out there. A lot of trade schools, and that's where it's at right now, is a trade school. So we're bringing in a lot of students from outside of Butler County because they offer those good programs. And I feel personally, not to take more money in, but maybe they should allocate some of that money that's going to the universities to the junior colleges to help offset that. Because we are in Butler County servicing students throughout the state. But I do believe the college is a great asset for Butler County and not only the students, but the people that live here.
Dan?
Yes, it's a great asset. 80% of the students who go to Butler County College do not live in Butler County. They live in other counties, mainly Sedgwick County. We're paying 15 mills, which I will congratulate the board. They've lowered it 5 mills in the last 2 years. It should be funded through the region system. We are at a huge disadvantage, what we talked about earlier, mill rate and tax dollars to provide 80% of the students who don't live here that education. My 3 daughters also have gone through it. They do a great job. I don't want to say they don't. They do a wonderful job. I'm saying we just need to spread the cost. We've worked with our legislators. The problem is there's 105 counties, and there's only about 19 counties that have a community college. So getting the majority of the folks in Topeka to understand it is an issue with the smaller communities that are trying to maintain and draw people in. And like I said, I can't say enough good things about the college. You can get a degree if you're in Rosedale and Andover and El Dorado. You can have an associate's degree before you graduate high school. What a great asset. I mean, we do, and they do a wonderful job. We just want to figure out a way to spread the joy of the tax burden to the other folks. And so while we sometimes appear to be their adversary, we're not. We're a big advocate. We're trying to help them get money to provide the services that are so sorely needed in this community.
Vince?
Well, I'm going to echo the college is a tremendous asset to the county. 15 mills is down to 13 mills as of Monday night. They passed a revenue neutral budget, so kudos to them. That's $150 a year on a $100,000 house. That's, to me, one heck of an investment. I get the mill difference at the county line. I don't think it's just the college doing that. So that's a whole other tax conversation. We're talking about the college. The charter of the college, one of the great things of the college is that they are supposed to be nimble and be able to react to the needs of the community, whether it be workforce or whatever it is, more so than a university. So they do have, welding and the carpentry and all of the trade stuff that are crucial to workforce development. The college is at the table every time when we're talking to industrial prospects about what's their workforce need, how can the college fulfill that. So they're very crucial for economic development, workforce development, obviously certainly students. I've got a nephew that didn't live here, went to Butler, now lives here. So it's a draw. It has all those attributes to it. So college is a great asset to the county as a whole. So
I guess we'll start with you, Vance, since you had the mic and go around. As many of you know, I sit on the planning and zoning board here at the county level, which is a very high-paying job, and have done so for 20-some years. We've kind of been put on the forefront of some of the economical development in the county. Sometimes we've got some restraints put on us through what we can and can't do by various other agencies. I get tickled with people who come before us and want to do something, and we tell them it really has nothing to do with the county. You've got to get past state and that type of stuff. But outside of that, what can you do or the county do to help grow our economical development in the area? Is there anything specific, just general, something to help grow our economic development?
I think there's things that can be done. I think driving as much of that economic development to municipalities and inside city limits is good for the county. I mean, Commissioner Wajak said what happens in the cities is good for the county. The infrastructures is typically already there in the city to handle much economic development. But I think one of the things that I noticed, the comp plan for the county is a 1994 comp plan, updated in 2004. That's not a workable document. I think county looking at updating or rebuilding, completely restarting over again with a comp plan, so that you can better understand where you're going to drive economic development, where you have the infrastructure that can support that. We see a 254, 196, 254, 96 to 35 on 135 north interchange. Once that completes, we're going to see 254 become a logistical corridor, and the safety of that. What are we going to do about economic development along that? I think the county's got a big voice in coordination with the state because of it being the type of highway it is. But the county's got a big play in how that corridor gets developed. Kellogg is a retail and residential corridor. We're going to see 254. It already is a logistic corridor as it reaches from Wichita to the Turnpike and other assets that are here in El Dorado for transportation. So I think the biggest part of that is a comp plan, so that the commission can get input from the county. We can understand how we're going to grow and where we're going to grow and where we have assets and resources to do that.
Saucer.
Probably adding on to a lot of what he was saying was, I sound a very sound mind of, and knowing where, like our the highway, how they fix K96, I use that a lot on a weekly basis at least. And knowing how incoming traffic comes in, where you see not just billboards, or you see the businesses, and there's other businesses that might be willing to partnership or to move out here, but you have to give them incentives and such to make them want to. Maybe reaching out or finding investors, things of that nature, that might be the leads to opening up to more buildings, to more companies, to more output, and so that we can draw more people here. And when they're driving through, they see something that's eye-catching, and they go, okay, I want to stop here, I want to get this. If they see nothing to stop for, they're going to keep going. And you've got to trigger on to what their eye catches. Being with my history of design, that if you can catch their eye, it can go from anywhere. It's limitless. It just needs to be worked from the ground up.
Darren?
I think there's a lot of key issues going into economic development. Butler County is set pretty good on some of those. We've got 9 great school districts in the county. We've got the college. We've got a great hospital. Those are things that will help you grow economically when people look to come in here. They look for those things for their families if they're going to move here. So I think we're pretty good on that aspect of it. The other things that I think, the 3 really important things, business retention and expansion. You've got to make these businesses stay here and possibly expand. The other thing is attracting new businesses. Like I said, with those things that we have, that should draw people in. We have those amenities that people will be looking for whether they start business, either them and their families or the people that will work for them. I think that's a big part of it. And the last one is growth of new businesses. I think Butler County has a great potential for growth of new businesses. We're in the middle. We've got interstates, whether it be 400, we've got I-35, we've got 54. We've got good roadways coming in for people to get here. And I think that's where we're missing out on the growth in Butler County. We've got El Dorado Lake. There's a lot of things that we could grow on to build that economic growth, to get people to want to come here, continue their business, grow their business even more.
Dan?
Thank you. 254 corridor, we are, county is very involved in the corridor group, looking at exactly those issues, how we can expand and be prepared with Prime, Amazon going into Park City, the traffic on 254 from the Turnpike is growing tremendously. So we are very involved in that group. Kellogg with 400. We have a huge bottleneck at 143rd. We've worked with the state. It's going to, they're starting the survey work, and we'll be starting either early next year or late next year. They'll start on the expansion out into a half mile past 159th, the county line. And when that's completed, then we'll go out to Prairie Creek. There again, bringing more people, making it easier to get to the development north of the Y and Andover. Yorktown is a huge developmental project that we're working with the city of Andover for retail, those type of things. As far as the comprehensive plan, yeah, it was made in 2004. We do review that on like a 4 to 5 year basis. We take input from the planning commission, we take input from our economic development group. It's a live document. To redo that completely, you're looking in the $60,000 to $70,000 range. We have not, as a council as a whole, taken the bite to do that because we have so many other. County government, we're trying to provide what we need, not what we want. So we are reactionary on a lot of that stuff.
Thank you, Nate. Steve?
Jeff, thank you for that question. So I'm on your counterpart. You're on the county side. I'm on the city side. I'm on the city for planning and zoning. And in fact, our chairperson is here tonight, who provides great leadership for us on that committee. And I'm a little bit new at that, and so oftentimes I'm going to ask the question, why not? I know a lot of our things that we do are driven by, we have to be in this box, and so I think it's okay to ask why not. And I'm not sure that any one person can just give you the answer. That's a big question, and if somebody had the answer, we would have done it already. But again, I think it's a matter of, let's get some people together that are knowledgeable, let's get some people together that want to focus on it, and let's dream big. Let's think. How can we do this and move in that direction? So again, difficult question, but again, if you take the time to focus on it and put energy on it, I think we can accomplish those things.
In the interest of time, and I know there's people in the audience that would like to ask you questions individually, so we'll finish up with this question. What's the biggest deficiency in the county needing to be corrected that the county commission can address? And Vince, we'll start with
you. The biggest deficiency in the county, I think that comes out of the comp plan review, identifying what some of the goals of the county are and I can't stand here and say that there's a huge deficiency in this county. There is huge potential, and the deficiency is not taking advantage of some of those potentials. We've got resources in the lake, we've got resources in infrastructure, we've got resources for economic development. I'm going to be honest, I can't stand here and say that there's a deficiency in the county that needs to be addressed.
Darren?
Like Vince, there's not a whole lot. One thing that I do see is efficiency in housing, especially in District 4. Butler County has the highest median gross income from all of our surrounding counties. Yet we have the highest median house price in all those counties, including Central County. Talking with a lot of people, they want to be part of Butler County, but they can't afford housing here. Out behind Sutherland's, we built that new housing. It filled up overnight. Housing is a problem I see in Butler County. I know my son was telling me he's been contacted by 3 different people out of state that's wanting to move to Butler County. They can't find affordable housing. I think we're good on the pay scale for our employees, retaining people here. As like I said, we're the highest median gross income for people, but we are the highest on tax value. I think that's the biggest thing.
Steve?
Well, like I said, I've spent 6 weeks going to commission meetings, and I would love to continue going to those to find out. Every time I learn something new, I'm going to tell you, I don't think there's a lot of fat on the bone. I listen to what's going on. I do know that they are tweaking things. I know the appraiser's office, I was there 3 weeks ago, and I know the county is down 26 positions, and the appraiser's office was down 1, and they all put their heads together and they came up with this plan because I know what those people make yearly, and it's not a lot of money. And so what they all got together and did is divvied up the duties, and then the commissioners were able to give them a much-deserved $1 per hour raise. You know, I think each department, you have to ask them, how could you be more efficient? I know the district court saved money last year because in the COVID season, they started, offenders had their first appearance by Zoom. And certainly there is nothing wrong with that, because now we don't have 2 deputies, we don't have a car bringing them over. So, I mean, I think you go back and you ask people within those departments, there is no excess fat on the bone at the county. The mill levy has dropped from 36 to 32 in the past 10 years. I think the county administrators and the county commissioners are doing a great job.
Sasha?
I haven't seen a whole lot of negatives. As part of why I stay. I've lived all over Kansas throughout my life, from Wichita, majority of it, and the surrounding areas. I liked this one, and I don't find many negatives. I do feel like maybe some areas are stretched thin, but again, that's potential with the pandemic. That can't be helped. It being, sorry. I see a lot of potential, and that's what we all want to see. We want to see growth, and not really any negatives. Sorry. Thank you.
So Dan, is the incumbent?
Huge deficiencies I don't see. Some of, I think, our biggest problem in Butler County is sometimes we sell ourselves short. We don't promote Butler County well enough, not only from a government standpoint, but from our citizen standpoint. I just don't see huge deficiency. We could always use better infrastructure, and that I think Vince hit on it earlier about getting businesses here. We have to work with the cities to provide, help them improve their infrastructure to grow that base. Our deficiency is probably dollars. We try to be as efficient, like I said, we try and provide what we have to have, not what we need. And if government as a whole works toward that, it's better for all of us. And that provides a better tax environment and a better environment for everybody. As from a government standpoint, I think overall our government agencies from the state to local levels are pretty efficient and do a pretty good job of providing what we have to have for our citizens.
Okay, now we'll move on to the 2-minute closing statements. Dan?
Thank you for all being here. Appreciate the opportunity to discuss these issues. Like I said, I am with the Commissioner Wheeler leaving the board. I will be the longest serving commissioner on that board at this point in time, also the oldest. But we've done a lot of good things. We've had good people. I've been very fortunate over the years to work with a lot of excellent commissioners to provide better services for our citizens. The trick on being a county commissioner is being a county commissioner. You're not a district commissioner. You're not a city commissioner. You represent the county as a whole. So whether it's District 5 or it's District 1 or District 4 or 3, whichever two, we have to look at things and issues that affect the whole county. There are times it benefits one or the other district. That doesn't matter. It benefits the county as a whole. You have to take the time to do your job. Steve said he's retired. I'm retired. I've retired since I've been on the board. If you call me, I'll answer you, whether you're in my district or other district. People want to be heard. The trick to being a politician in this day and age is listening to people. Most of the time, at the end of the conversation, they'll say, I know you can't do anything for me, but thank you for the time that you've taken to listen to me. And we try and address those issues. So I appreciate the opportunity to serve citizens of Butler County. Hopefully, you'll send me back for 4 more years. And there again, I appreciate everybody that's here tonight to take time out of their evening to listen to us. Thank you.
Sasha.
I've enjoyed tonight, as nerve-wracking as it might seem. It's also been a learning experience. And I'm a little out of my element, but at the same time, something new is a good thing. And as much as Dan done a great job, I'm not here to upset that. But at the same time, I wanted to step up and do something for my community and the people I work with and that I love. This has been an eye-opening place. I found a lot of camaraderie. I listened to them, that there's a lot of people here I could get along with and that I would like to work with. And it's been very eye-opening, so thank you for your time.
Steve.
Butler County residents, here is what I have to offer. No matter how you slice it, we are a mixture of small metropolitan and rural areas. I have lived in both worlds. As a youth, I spent lots of time pushing cattle down a chute, riding big green tractors and watching the beauty of a rain fall across a section of farm ground. My adulthood was shared with over 3,000 students in the classroom while being actively involved in my community. I come to this table with no hidden agenda, just a desire to immerse myself in serving the citizens of Butler County. Nothing more, nothing less. I've run a self-funded campaign on a small budget and have no conflicts, conflicting connections, or with businesses or individuals. If elected, I promise to continue along this path of neutrality and carefully study all facets of matters brought before the Commission. I will also continue my attendance of the current Butler County Commission meeting so I may hit the ground running in January of 2023. To repeat myself from earlier, my life intersects at a perfect place to become an elected official and serve you. Retired and ample time to ask questions for the citizens of Butler County. Many thanks to the Dorado Chamber and the Butler County Farm Bureau Association for hosting this event. And thank you for your consideration to be the next District 4 County Commissioner.
Vince.
Thank you again. Thanks everyone for sticking to the end. I own a 70-year-old business. I know what it takes to manage budgets, manage employees, make payroll, understand the dynamics of that, navigate economic challenges, make tough decisions, to maintain a stable work environment for employees. I think that's an asset to take to the commission seat. 30 years as an architect practice in Butler County and South Central Kansas as a whole. Learned the importance of Butler County in the region and the state, and the position and just the importance it is. Mayor Longwell, when he was mayor, I had a chance to connect with him a lot, and he talked about regionalism. Rising tides lift all ships. That's his mantra. I'll give it to him. But he's absolutely right. Butler County has got some tide. In my practice, I work in both public and private sector, understand the workings of both, understand the workings of both. Work ethic, honesty, integrity, and transparency, that has earned me the trust for clients to design and manage construction projects that exceed the Butler County's operating budget. So a good steward of money. My own drive to invest in Butler County led me to do development and have commercial property. So I write those tax checks. I understand what those incentives are, what they do for the projects, and I understand what those tax checks are hard to write sometimes. As mayor, I understand governmental budgets, mill levy, what it means, how to operate within them. I understand the importance of collaboration and partnerships. I think all those things are great assets that I can bring to the table as a county commissioner.
Darren.
I want to thank everybody for coming. When I filed for this, I put a lot of miles going out meeting a lot of people. If elected, I would continue that. I feel that you need to go out and meet these people. You need to find out what their concerns are. I plan on going to all the different community centers, the township meetings, fire district meetings. You represent these people. I think we need to go out and find out what they want. Also, like Vince said, transparency. You hear that all the time. It really doesn't mean much anymore because they don't. But I do feel you need to be transparent here. I'd be willing to share anything on my campaign with anybody as far as, like Steve said, I took no money from any businesses. I did this with just family and friends. I feel that that's something that I want to do, so I didn't ask the businesses nor I'd have to pay them something back later, because usually that's why they give to you. Kind of like Doug said, everybody has their own specialty, whether it be in the House or whatever. As far as I know right now, not a single county commissioner has ag experience that lives out in the county. I have that. I run a ranch with my kids. We're partners. I do hay. We do some crop on our property. I could bring that expertise to the commission, and I feel living in the city and the county both, I have that connection to where I could bring that experience to the county commission.
Thank you, everybody. If you would, maintain your seats for just a second. I want to give Patrick Penn, who has arrived, just a couple of minutes to say a few words.
Thank you so much, sir. Greetings to everyone here tonight. How y'all doing tonight? Yeah, staying warm, staying cool. Which one are we doing today? I know, right? So praise God, we had a little bit of rain come down today. My name is Patrick Penn. I represent you in this Topeka in State House District 85. That covers on the Sedgwick County side from Woodlawn all the way to County Line Road, 159. And in the south now, after redistricting, from 21st Street all the way up to 77. And then we come over into Butler side as well, where I lost the city of Township of Benton proper. You probably heard from Bill Carpenter here earlier tonight, right? So he's one of my mentors and good guys, so he got that in redistricting. I think he used to own a grocery store in the environment, so he was very keen on getting back into his element. Did he do a good job tonight? Yeah. Okay. And I do maintain the steering clear field and everything down further into Water. I am running on the platform of faith, family, and service as I did last time, because to me, I am a Christian. My identity is in Christ. And because of that, I'm conservative with both my pocket and my principles. And because I'm conservative with both my pocket and my principles, that means that I caucus with the Republican Party. So what you will see on the primary and on the general ballot is my name down there beside the Republican ticket. I don't have any bones about that. I'm not ashamed of my party. I think that from what we've seen, the party that actually has principles, the party that actually has results and not just rhetoric. For me, that's something that is very important. I'm the father to 4 beautiful, strong-willed, bright, and energetic young children. I'm a husband of my wife, Talia, 15 years. She tells me that we first got together in kindergarten, so I'm supposed to say that. She outranks me. As you can see, I retired as a captain in the United States Army after 20 years of service, but she's the general. She locks my heels. She couldn't be here tonight. Our son had another little birthday party that he was invited to, so she's managing that piece right there. But she does send her warm regards because we love our public community. Every time we come out here, you guys are so warm, bringing us out. And when we do Farm and Fork every single year, and you do your legislative send-off, it's always good. However, I have been remiss because I haven't been as present or timely as I want to do, so I do apologize for that. I was a little double booked tonight, and I do apologize for getting here a little later on, but be it far from me to ever miss out on one of your events. You're very important to me because you bring something to the table as we represent you up in Topeka. That's super important, super important. And it's the simple fact of the matter that you and your community are true Kansans, good salt of the earth people who understand the value of hard work, who understand the value of personal responsibility and a limited sense of government. I applaud each of the candidates up here tonight that you've been hearing to give you the government that you deserve. But the best piece that you bring to the table is that you're vocal, you're engaged. And that is something that we really appreciate because you're my boss, and I need to hear from you on what you have me to do. I love the consent of the government. I took up that oath of office over 20 years ago to defend the Constitution of the United States from enemies, foreign and domestic, and that's what I intend to continue to do for you. If you go go back to the back of the table, I have some yard signs, I have some call cards, and we'll be knocking in your area, and I hope that as I meet you on the doors and greet you again, it'll just be like old friends.